Excuse me, do either of you know a man named Louis? I'm told he comes here often.
Hey, quit bothering my customers.
Manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains
Hello, George.
unidentified.
Were you able to find out anything else about Louis?
Nah, I asked around, but it's like I told you, nobody knows this guy.
Oh, well. Thanks for your cooperation. If you happen to hear anything else, please give me a call at the COI office in the Federal Building.
Wait, there is something else. It didn't mean nothing to me, but it might mean something to you. One of the boys says he overheard Louis talking to Mr. Finster. He says he kept calling himself Harold. I don't know if it means anything or not, but I just sworn on the Holy Bible he said his name was Louis.
I don't know if it means anything or not, but it could be important. Thanks again, George.
Just catch his creep and lock him up for good.
Their vessel was captured without incident. In other global news, snow and near-zero weather in Russia halted Nazi troops dead in their tracks. More bad news for the Axis as the British began an offensive in North Africa along the 130-mile Libya line. Score 1 for Hitler.
You said that the Finster crest was the same as the Sergeant-at-Arms crest.
Yes, that's right.
How many rankings do these knights have?
Well, that depends. There are literally hundreds of dramatic knights alone, but you're only interested in one rather small branch of knights. Now, according to my father's notes, there were 4 officers among the 12 knights. The head of the order, the Sergeant-at-Arms, the scribe, and the herald.
Wait a minute. What did you just say?
Well, the head of the order, the Sergeant-at-Arms, the scribe, and the herald.
The herald?
You know, the messenger.
That's it! Louis! He wasn't going by the name Harold at all. He was calling himself their herald. Helen, you're wonderful. You're wonderful.
Glad I could help, Jim.
Do you mind if I have a look at your father's project?
Sure, I don't see why not.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from around the world, our boys at sea captured an Axis ship in equatorial waters. The Axis vessel unsuccessfully attempted a nefarious ploy to bluff its way through the British blockade. Our sources indicate the Axis boat falsely flaunted our very own stars and stripes and had an American name painted on her pilot house and stern in an attempt to pass itself off as one of our own. Our American cruiser's good commander was too smart to fall for such a trick, however, and he immediately ordered the ship to heave to. Despite a last-ditch effort by the Axis merchantmen to blow up their own ship, their vessel was captured without incident. In other global news, snow and near-zero weather in Russia halted Nazi troops dead in their tracks. More bad news for the Axis as the British began an offensive in North Africa along the 130-mile Libya line. Score one for Hitler, though. Wire reports confirmed that the Australian cruiser Sydney was sunk by a German raider disguised as a Dutch merchant ship. I guess our mates down under could use a few lessons from our own boys at sea. In Washington today, Subaru Kurusu, Japan's new and super special envoy to the United States, is set to begin a round of talks with the State Department. These talks come right on the heels of Tojo's stinging remarks regarding Roosevelt's Pacific policy. With the Pacific crisis nearing its breaking point, officials in Washington hope that Kurusu, Japan's pinch hitter on the diplomatic diamond, can head off a military confrontation.
Yeah, I'll try there, thanks.
Also in Washington, a recent survey of 59 Midwestern
Looks like I finally
editors
found
and
Louis.
publishers for the interventionist Continental Congress for Freedom displayed surprising opinions. The newspaper head honchos reported that their communities were now overwhelmingly in favor of the administration's foreign policy and a repeal of the Neutrality Act. Said one editor, "The so-called isolationist Midwest exists only in the minds of congressmen who have failed to keep abreast of a great surge of public opinion during recent months." In other national news, hopes ran high that John L. Lewis
Hello? I'm sorry, I was hoping you might be able to help me. I'm looking for a man named Louis Fisterwald. Is he here?
What'd you say your name was?
I didn't. Hank Finster sent me. He had a message he wanted me to deliver to Louis. He's reconsidered Louis's offer.
Yeah, Louis want to hear about that. He ain't here right now, though. You tried out the mission?
A mission? What's a convicted felon doing at a mission?
Say, who is this really? You better beat it, buddy. We're closed.
Come in.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from around the world, our boys at sea captured an Axis ship in equatorial waters. The Axis vessel unsuccessfully attempted a nefarious ploy to bluff its way through the British blockade. Our sources indicate the Axis boat falsely flaunted our very own Stars and Stripes and had an American name painted on her pilot house and stern in an attempt to pass itself off as one of
I'll
our
try there,
own.
thanks.
Our American cruiser's good commander was too smart
Looks
to
like
fall
I
for
finally
such a trick,
found Louis.
however, and he immediately ordered the ship to heave to. Despite a last-ditch effort by the Axis merchantmen to blow up their own ship, their vessel was captured without incident. In other global news, snow and near-zero weather in Russia halted Nazi troops dead in their tracks. More bad news for the Axis as the British began an offensive in North Africa along the 130-mile Libya line. Score one for Hitler, though. Wire reports confirmed that the Australian cruiser Sydney was sunk by a German raider disguised as a Dutch merchant ship. I guess our mates down under could use a few lessons from our own boys at sea. In Washington today, Subaru Kurusu, Japan's new and super special envoy to the United States, is set to begin a round of talks with the State Department. These talks come right on the heels of Tojo's stinging remarks regarding Roosevelt's Pacific policy. With the Pacific crisis nearing its breaking point, officials in Washington hope that Kurusu, Japan's pinch hitter on the diplomatic diamond, can head off a military confrontation. Also in Washington, a recent survey of 59 Midwestern editors and publishers for the interventionist
What's this? Looks like someone's been spending some time at St. Bartholomew's Mission. Excuse me, my name's Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI. I was hoping you might be able to help me.
Sure, mister. I'll help you if I can.
I've just got a couple of questions for you.
Oh, all right. I'll help you if I can.
What do you do here, friend?
I help the fathers with the place. Keeping things up, that sort of thing.
Jack of all trades, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Mostly, I help out with the hobos. Make sure there's no trouble.
You see a lot of trouble in here?
No, not really. Mostly I play cards.
A lot of people come through here, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Especially now, what with everyone afraid of the torso killer, no one wants to sleep by himself anymore.
Hasn't anyone been able to help?
No. They just try to get rid of the poor hobos. Why, just last month, Mr. Ness burned down their camps. Said he was trying to smoke out the killer, but all he did was burn down their homes.
Well, I think it's a mighty decent job you're doing here, friend.
Thanks, mister.
Do you know a fella named Louis?
Sure, I know Louis.
Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Yeah, he works at the Raven Room. He's a doorman. Say, why you looking for Louis?
I've just got a few questions for him.
Oh, I thought maybe he'd gotten into trouble.
He get into trouble a lot?
Yeah, Louis always getting into trouble. Oh, but I shouldn't be talking about that.
Why shouldn't you say anything about that?
I don't rat on friends.
How long have you known Louis?
Oh, Louis and me go way back.
You don't say.
Yeah, since we was kids. Louis always looking out for me. He even got me this here job.
This Louis sounds like a swell guy.
Oh, he's the best. So, you want to see something?
Sure, why not?
Louis even got me introduced to Gloria the Mill. Got my picture taken with her and everything.
Say, that sure is a nice picture. Who are those other fellas?
They friends of Louis.
The father's around now?
Nah, they left me to watch the place. What's the matter, mister?
They were supposed to have a package for me. So you don't suppose you... No, I couldn't ask you to do that.
Do what, mister?
You don't suppose you could look for that package for me, do you? They were supposed to have it in their offices.
Oh, sure, mister. I could do that for you. You'll watch the counter for me, won't you?
No problem, friend.
Say, mister,
Yes.
what's this package look like?
It's about that big, say, and about that high.
All right, I'll go fetch it for you.
wonder who these other men are.
Come in.
Do you recognize anyone in this photo?
Oh, those are some pretty big players you got there, kid. Dutch Schultz, Lenny Cohen, Moose Malone. These boys run all the rackets in Cleveland. The skirt's Dutch's girl, Gloria DeMille. She was in pictures before the scandal sheets found out she was dating a gangster. I'm not too sure about these other two fellas, though.
The big man's name is Ernie. You don't recognize the other guy?
I'll be damned. That's Louie the Fish. Small-time hood, bagman for Dutch. Word has it he made off with Dutch's take from a booze run a couple of years ago. Took off with a cool 10 grand.
What happened to him?
Well, he said he went to Atlantic City. He was throwing money around like it grew on trees. Blew the whole wad on women, booze, gambling, you name it. Word got back to Dutch and Louie disappeared. Ain't never been seen since. Everybody figured he was dead.
He's not dead.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of crooks in this city that'd love to know that.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from
Well, well, well. If it isn't Louis Fisher, or is it Fielding? What is it these days? Fisterwald, right?
That's Mr. Fichterwalt to you. And who the hell are you?
I'm Agent Pearson. I'm with the COI. I'd like to speak to you about some alleged subversive acts.
Slag off, you lousy Fed. I ain't got nothing to say to you.
Well, we've got plenty to talk about. For starters, there's the subversive materials you've been handing out. You do know the penalty for treason, don't you?
I ain't committed no treason. And you ain't got nothing on me anyhow. If you did, you would have pinched me already.
I've half a mind to take you in just for the sake of it.
Go ahead and try. I'd be out of the stir so fast your head would be spinning. You can't touch me. I got friends. Now beat it. I got a job to do.
You haven't heard the last from me.
Go to hell.
Louis even got me introduced to Gloria the Mill. Got my picture taken with her and everything.
Hey, that sure is a nice picture. Who were those other fellas?
They friends of Louis.
The father's around now?
Nah, they left me to watch the place. What's the matter, mister?
They were supposed to have a package for me. So you don't suppose you... No, I couldn't ask you to do that.
Do what, mister?
You don't suppose you could look for that package for me, do you? They were supposed to have it in their offices.
Oh, sure, mister. I could do that for you. You'll watch the counter for me, won't you?
No problem, Frank.
Say, mister,
Yes.
what's this package look like?
It's about that big, say, and about that high.
All right, I'll go fetch it for you.
I wonder who these other men are.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes.
I'll be talking to the
from
boys
tough
later.
and tumble
Okay, George, I'll
neighborhood
stop
of
back later then.
Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified.
Come in.
Do you recognize anyone in this photo?
Those are some pretty big players you got there, kid. Dutch Schultz, Lenny Cohen, Moose Malone. These boys run all the rackets in Cleveland. The skirt's Dutch's girl, Gloria DeMille. She was in pictures before the scandal sheets found out she was dating a gangster. I'm not too sure about these other 2 fellas, though.
The big man's name is Ernie. You don't recognize the other guy?
I'll be damned. That's Louis the Fish. Small-time hood, bagman for Dutch. Word has it he made off with Dutch's take from a booze run a couple of years ago. Took off with a cool 10 grand.
What happened to him?
And he said he went to Atlantic City. He was throwing money around like it grew on trees. Blew the whole wad on women, booze, gambling, you name it. Word got back to Dutch and Louis disappeared. Ain't never been seen since. Everybody figured he was dead.
He's not dead.
Well, there's a lot of crooks in this city that'd love to know that.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight
I'll be
from
talking to the
tough
boys
and
later.
humble neighborhood
Okay, George,
of
I'll stop back
Kingsbury
later then.
Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from around the world,
Well, well, well. If it isn't Louis Fisher, or is it Fielding? What is it these days? Fischerwald, right?
That's Mr. Fichterwalt to you. And who the hell are you?
I'm Agent Pearson. I'm with the COI. I'd like to speak to you about some alleged subversive acts.
Slag off, you lousy Fed. I ain't got nothing to say to you.
Well, we've got plenty to talk about. For starters, there's the subversive materials you've been handing out. You do know the penalty for treason, don't you?
I ain't committed no treason. And you ain't got nothing on me anyhow. If you did, you would have pinched me already.
Well, I've half a mind to take you in just for the sake of it.
Go ahead and try. I'd be out of the stir so fast your head would be spinning. You can't touch me. I got friends. Now beat it. I got a job to do.
You haven't heard the last from me.
Go to hell.
I hear you used to keep some pretty interesting company, Louis.
What the hell are you talking about?
Dutch Schultz, Lenny Cohen, Moose Malone. Oh, I'd be willing to bet your old friends would just love to know where you are right now.
Where'd you get that?
Never mind where I got it. I think we're gonna have that little talk now. Or do you think your new friends are gonna be able to help you now?
You lousy Fed. Do you know what you've done? I'm a dead man. Dead for sure.
I'm a reasonable kind of fellow, Louis. All you have to do is talk to me, and this little matter just blows away. Now, where'd you get the invitation you gave Finster?
Shh! Not here. Are you crazy? They'll see me. They'll know.
Who'll know?
Oh, what's it matter? I'm a dead man. Dead for sure. I'll talk to you, mister. But not here.
Why not, Louis? Why not talk here?
I wouldn't. I can't. It's too late. He'd know. Look, he'd find me. I got a place. A safe place. Where he might not see me. We could meet there.
Yeah, I leave now, and you have all the time you need to skip town.
I won't light out. I swear. There's no point. I can't run anywhere. He'll find me. Please. Please. We'll talk. But not here. anywhere but here.
You better be square with me.
I swear on my mother's grave. Just meet me there.
All right. Tell me where the place is. I killed some time waiting to meet Louis, then headed straight over to the address he gave me. I'd never seen a crummier old building in my life. I walked in feeling certain that rat had given me a bum steer.
Hold it right there! Federal agent!
Jeez. Nazis. This gun is SS issue.
Hello? Anybody here? Hey, mister, what's the matter with you?
Just a little beat is all. What are you doing here?
Are you Jim Pearson?
Yeah, I am.
Man told me he'd give me a nickel if I gave this to you.
All right. I'm game. Here you go.
Thanks, mister.
Hey, what's in here?
Don't know.
Just like a Fed. Asleep on the job.
I just had the strangest dream.
Yeah, that's real sweet, kid. Now, if I can tear you away from the sugar plum fairies, I got a few more questions I want to ask you about Fisher's murder.
Sure, Detective, but didn't we already cover all this at the station house?
Things have changed. We found the rest of Louis scattered around Lake Erie this morning.
Oh, I see. What's on your mind?
Let's start with why the torso killer is delivering to you like he's your goddamn milkman.
I don't know anything about the torso killer, Detective. I was supposed to meet Fisher at this warehouse. He was gonna talk to me about this Brotherhood of Thule I've been investigating. Someone obviously got to him before I could.
Not someone, kid. The torso killer. This thing has his handiwork written all over it.
We've already covered this, Detective. It just doesn't add up. Fisher had to have been killed by this pro-German society to keep him from talking to me.
All right, all right. Suppose Louis was some kind of pro-Nazi sympathizer. But if this here Brotherhood offed him, like you said, to keep him from squealing, why would they do anything to connect them to him?
They wouldn't, but they might want to cover it up by making Fisher look like just another victim of the torso killer.
Maybe. But get this. Louis had the word Nazi carved in his chest. Whoever did this wasn't trying to cover up Louis's connection to some Nazi-loving bunch of weirdos. The person what did this hated Nazis. I think they were sending a warning to this here Brotherhood of yours.
I didn't know that. Now this really muddles things up. If I learn anything else, Detective, I'll be sure to let you know.
All right, kid. What do you know about the stiff in the abandoned factory? How does he play into all of this?
I've never seen him before, but I'm pretty certain he was a German operative.
What gives you that idea?
The SS gun he was using to try to put holes in me. Has he been identified yet?
Don't ask me, kid. The FBI's handling that. Looks like you'll have to visit our pal Winslow for that information.
I still say that if you want to find Fisher's killer, you should find out who the dead crowd's friends are.
I don't buy that. They already got to Louis at that point. Why come back to his hideout and start poking around some more?
Maybe he had something they wanted.
Could be. It's about as good an explanation as we're gonna get at this point, I guess. You remember anything else, be sure to tell me. Okay, Hotshot?
Of course, Detective.
First he ruins my stakeout at McGinty's, and now we've got 2 dead men on our hands. Your boy's too green.
Pearson is more than capable of fielding this investigation.
Oh? And why wasn't my office notified?
This complaint falls under COI jurisdiction. This is Pearson's case, and he had every right to be there.
That's what you said about Penske. And you know what happened to Wally. He couldn't cut it, so the FBI
Don't you bring Walt...
Jimbo! How you doing, sport? We'll finish this conversation later.
Sorry if I got you in a tight spot, sir.
Never you mind about that, son. I'm more than capable of handling that grandstander.
What did Winslow mean when he mentioned Mr. Penske's fate?
That arrogant... He's got a lot of nerve coming in here telling me how to do my job. Well, never mind about Winslow. One day he'll find out that what goes around comes around. It's Walt you wanted to know about.
Yes, sir.
Walt stepped on some toes, and when his behavior became a little overzealous, the FBI called in some favors, and poor Walt was put up before the board. They declared that he was suffering from nervous exhaustion. They packed him off to a sanitarium.
I'm making some nice inroads on this investigation, sir.
I'm sure you are, son. How are you getting along, Jim?
I'm fine, sir.
I remember the first time I killed a man. It was during the Great War. I'll never forget his eyes. It can be a nasty we're in, Mr. Pearson.
Yes, sir. What have we here? The Hotel Cleveland, huh? What the hell? These runes look like the ones I found in the bag. I wish I knew what Penske had been on to. Maybe his case has more to do with mine than I thought. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Do you have anyone named Mulehaven staying here?
That's Mullhaven, sir, and yes, I should think that the gentleman is staying here.
You seem pretty certain of that.
But of course, sir, Mr. Mullhaven is merely one of our best guests. One moment, sir. Front desk. How are you this evening, Mrs. Hathaway? Yes, of course, I'll have that delivered straight away.
Yes, sir.
Please deliver a newspaper to Mrs. Hathaway in 7B. And for God's sake, man, button that uniform.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
May I be of further assistance, sir?
So tell me about this Mullhaven fella. He seems to be a big shot around here.
Mr. Mullhaven is an esteemed guest here, sir. He maintains his own suite.
He lives here?
No, sir, but he travels on business from Chicago frequently. He keeps the same suite reserved.
Is Mr. Mullhaven in now?
He is checked in now, if that's what you mean, sir. I believe, however, that he is not presently in his room.
What room is Mr. Mullhaven staying in?
I'm afraid I can't divulge that information.
Come on. Be a pal. I just need to have a talk with the guy.
Sir, either you take me for a fool or a gossip. I am neither. Now be off with you. I won't have another word of it. Sir, this is for guests only. Hotel Cleveland, how may I help you?
Jones, this is Mr. Mullhaven.
Oh, sir, I hadn't seen you come in. Are you feeling all right? You don't sound like yourself.
Never mind how I sound. Where's my blasted newspaper?
It hasn't been delivered.
No, it hasn't. What's the matter with you people?
I'm sorry, sir. I'll have it sent up straight away. Mr. Mullhaven needs a paper delivered to his suite. Weren't you to deliver it earlier?
Oh, I did.
Well, he didn't receive it. Now hop to it.
I delivered the paper. Lousy paper. 23.
23.
Mr. Mullhaven! Your paper, sir! Mr. Mullhaven! Lousy cheapskate can't spare a nickel tip.
Hello, Johnny. Rough day?
You said it, Mrs. Graham.
Maid service?
Now, this ought to come in handy if I need to get back in.
You said you wouldn't disturb anything.
Hans. And we shot, my dear.
You said you'd hurry right in and right out. I'll lose my job if anyone finds me here.
I wonder what that German's game is.
Was wollen Sie? Was wollen Sie? Was wollen Sie?
Good afternoon, Mr. Pearson.
If I could, sir, I'd like to see Mr. Penske's case files. I believe there's a connection between this case of mine and the matter he was investigating.
It troubles me to hear you say that, Mr. Pearson. Walt was asked to step down from a case that had no bearing whatsoever on our national security. He countermanded direct orders by refusing to do so, and all on account of a bunch of superstitious nonsense. What possible connection could there be between his mumbo-jumbo and your investigation?
I know it sounds like a lot of nonsense to us, sir, but I think this Brotherhood of Thule believes in it. They've organized themselves around it, in fact.
Point well taken. Unfortunately, I don't have the Penske files. The FBI confiscated them, claimed that Walt overstepped COI bounds and interfered in their jurisdiction. Hoover's men won that round, I'm afraid. Perhaps if you were to ask Mr. Winslow, he could make them available.
Do we have any information on a man named Mulhaven?
Mulhaven? What's he got to do with this mess?
That's what I'm trying to uncover, sir.
Well, there's not an awful lot I can tell you. He's an industrialist from Chicago. He has a few contracts with the War Department. I believe he has some political aspirations. Apart from that, I know very little about the man.
Are you aware of any German nationals in town?
Well, actually, there is one. A man named Wilhelm von Hess. Our men in Washington have had their eyes on him for a long time now. We've no idea what he's doing in Cleveland, but we're sure as hell he's not in town for the Great Lakes Expo, as he claims.
Why don't we just ship him back where he belongs?
Now, there's the rub. He's here on a diplomatic mission. Even though our men have long suspected him of spying, we can't deport him without concrete proof, without risking an international incident. And relations between our country and Germany are touchy enough as it is.
Well, I think the man that I shot could be connected to von Hess. Von Hess may even be responsible for Fisher's death, although Detective Merillo doesn't seem to think so. You might be able to pin enough on him there to get him shipped off.
If we can make the connection stick, you can be sure that's the first thing we'll do.
Do you have any guesses as to where this might have been taken?
Looks like your man was caught in a rather compromising position. There's only one place that a businessman of Mulhaven's stature would go to, a place called Flanagan's on the east side. How'd you come across that photo?
Von Hess has been using it to blackmail Mulhaven.
Can you prove that?
I believe so, sir.
Wonderful. That is just what we need to have Von Hess packed off.
Mr. Sullivan, if you could, I'd like you to hold off on that for now. At least until I can find out why Von Hess is blackmailing Mulhaven.
Very well, Mr. Pearson. This is your investigation. I'll leave it to your discretion.
Thank you, sir. It looks like a tooth. I wonder why Louis kept it locked up.
Well, Jimbo! Well, what brings you here, sport?
I was hoping you could give me a little information.
Sure, anything to help a fellow agent. Yeah, run along, Candy darling. Say, I hope you're not still sore at me for this morning. I think you're doing a fine job. We still friends?
Yeah, sure, Dick. We're still friends.
Great, just great. Say, can I get you anything? A smoke, perhaps?
No, thanks. I don't really like to smoke.
Oh, but have you ever tried one of these? They're imported straight from Turkey. Finest cigarettes I've ever tasted.
Have you fellas identified the man I shot?
Well, we're still working on that. My best guess is that he was working for the mob.
Even though he was carrying an SS-issue gun?
Yes, well, we did put an inquiry in with the German consulate. They disavowed all knowledge of him.
It's to be expected, isn't it?
Well, I suppose so. But Louis did have ties to the mob. It stands to reason that his past might finally catch up to him.
Louis hadn't worked for the mob for years, but he was working as a messenger for this German Brotherhood.
Oh, really? And what brotherhood would that be?
An outfit that calls itself the Brotherhood of Thule. That's what I've been investigating.
You don't say. Well, my years of experience with the Bureau tell me that this was a mob hit. But if you really think that there's something to this Brotherhood thing...
I do.
Well, then Dick Winslow's not the type of man to leave any stone unturned. I'll make sure someone looks into it.
Does the Bureau have any information on a man named Mulhaven?
Why do you need to know?
I think he might be in a fix with some Nazis.
Look, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but we've had our eyes on him for some time now. Joseph Mulhaven is the type of man who'll play both sides of the fence until he's certain which side will come out ahead. For the past year, he's been campaigning tirelessly in Chicago on isolationist grounds, but his companies have been secretly gearing up for the war effort. Well, he stands to clean up if America joins the war in Europe.
Would playing both sides of the fence include making deals with the Nazis?
It wouldn't be out of the question. But for all of Mulhaven's sins, he doesn't seem like someone who'd be very likely to sell out to the Nazis. Quite frankly, I don't think he has a stomach for espionage.
Do your men know of any German nationals in town?
No, aren't Germans more up your alley, sport? We've got nothing to do with that sort of thing anymore.
All the same.
Well, just between you and me. There is a German diplomat in town by the name of von Hess.
What's his story?
Oh, he's a career politician for the German government. My superiors in Washington suspect him of spying, but really, if he were, what would he be doing in Cleveland?
I understand the Bureau has Mr. Penske's case files.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have them right here in my safe. Why do you ask?
I'd like to get a look at them.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry, Jimbo. I can't open them up without a direct order from my superiors. It's completely out of my hands, I'm afraid. Now, if it were up to me, I'd hand them right over to you.
There's no way I can get a look at them?
If it were only up to me. No, there's nothing in there anyway, sport, really. Just a lot of nonsense. He went completely batty there at the end. Not a lot of time to talk right now, sport. Could you come back round again later?
Sure thing, Dick.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pearson.
like that, huh?
Dick?
Sounds like he's busy right now.
Like that, huh? 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 That's 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 like that, huh? Okay, 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 huh?
I can't believe his combinations of football score. Why, I bet he didn't even let her.
Like that, huh? 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 Like that, huh?
The Sunnyvale Rest Home. So that's where they've got Penn's.
Like that, huh? Like that, huh? Okay, huh? Okay, huh? Okay, huh?
Oh. Jimbo! How long you been out here, sport?
Not very long. I just got here.
You, didn't by any chance hear anything, did you?
No, I didn't hear a thing.
Good, good. Say, I am a little busy now.
That's okay. I'll come back later.
That's awful swell of you, sport.